This video, I'm going to show you how to use Cursor when developing Shopify themes. We're going to go over how I use Cursor to understand how Shopify themes work, how to identify unused theme code with Cursor, why you shouldn't blindly write code with Cursor, and how to write code using Cursor, and I'll obviously give you tons of really good best practices and tips along the way. So without further ado, let's hop over to my computer. Alrighty, so what we have over here is a downloaded version of our theme file, and we've dropped it over into Cursor, and we added a new version of Horizon. So technically this version of Horizon was just downloaded by clicking download over here, and then we've opened it up in Cursor, which you can check a link in the description for Cursor. Now, if we go into edit theme here, you'll notice that it is just a new theme, and we can click into edit code, and the code editor will technically be the same structure as what we're seeing here in Cursor. Now, if we want to figure out how our Shopify theme works, we could go into any one of the files. So for example, if we go into cart notes.js, we could ask Cursor, how does the cart notes.js file work? You can see here it starts to give us a detailed overview of how the cart notes file works within Shopify and how it's even related to some of the other Shopify files. Also, if there is any unused code inside of this file, which is typically stored within layouts and then theme.liquid, we can find if there's any code in here that we don't need. Now, since it's a new theme, all the code in here should be used, so there really is nothing to search for, but we could prompt our way through and say, hey, please reference theme.liquid and check if there is any unused code that we don't need. Now, thinking about a practical example of coding something new, let's say we wanted to create a new block. We could go into Cursor, start a new agent, and we could say, create us a new block with text that is a global block, and hit enter here. Great, so it's starting to finish up here, and as we can see, we could go into this global text block and it already started to generate us a little bit of boilerplate code, which this is fairly simple and we can read, nothing complex, nothing can really break. So this is awesome. I'm just gonna keep all my changes. Also, just so that we can preview this, I'm just gonna quickly start a new terminal. Great, so I just started a new terminal here just so that we can see some of the changes that we've made within Cursor. So if I go over here, go into products and then go into a default product and go into the product information area, I can add a block in and we'll notice our new block that is created. So it's called the global text. So if I type that in, you'll notice we have this new global text block and it is generated from what we just made, which is absolutely awesome. This global text block right now isn't necessarily displaying anything of importance. Right now we can add in some text, but we don't have the correct field for that, and that is also another reason why we need to make sure we can understand and read the code just so that we don't make any mistakes like this. But I am going to just hit tab with Cursor since it knows I want a curly brace, and look at that, it already knows that I want to add in this global text block. So I'm going to hit tab again, and that tab feature is a lot of the time how I've been using Cursor to develop themes, just because it kind of already predicts what I want, and then I can go in and edit the text for the label or any of the info that's displaying and so on. So now that we have that in, I'm just going to save that and refresh the page over here. And as we can see here in our global text area, we can now add in some text. So we'll say, see, this is a tutorial, and hit save here. Now, the reason why this text isn't getting added in is because right now it's pulling from the settings, and we don't want it to pull from the settings. We want it to pull in from the block. So we're gonna hit tab here, tab here. See, Cursor's already smart enough to know what we want to edit, and we will hit save again, and then now our content should shine through. And just like that, now we have the text in here where it says, see, this is a tutorial. If you want to learn more about how to build different blocks, nested groups, and so on, I highly recommend you check out some of my other tutorials. I just wanted to keep this as a broad stroke tutorial on how to use Cursor within your Shopify theme. Okay, cheers.